Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media. I'm glad you guys are joining us today. And we just want you to know that Just Minding My Business Media would love for you to broaden the scope of exposure for your business and go beyond the interview. So to learn more, contact us at jmmbradio@gmail.com. Today, I am so excited to bring to you Eric. Give me that pronunciation again.
Estevez.
Estevez. Okay. And Eric, you want to tell people about your journey and who you are?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be part of this format to continue to add value to the community. And as far as my background, after 14 years of just working my way up in the corporate ladder, I started to, thankfully was able to start to dive into some entrepreneurial passions. I wrote a children's book with my wife, and we want to continue, publishing some new editions. And I started flipping mobile apps, and I just started to find that I wanted to be a business owner, right? And then I led up to my investing in real estate. I started investing in real estate passively, started to learn about flipping homes and hard money and investing in syndication. And I loved it so much that I decided to take a leap of faith and leave my Fortune 50 company position and enter the lending world. And I did it because my father, who's been doing this for about 25 years, was a one-man team, but I thought that he can provide me with some knowledge as a coach as I continue to help build the business and take it to the next level. And here we are today. So 5 years later, we built a successful business. A rapid, successful business, being able to build a great team. And then I've been able to go ahead and dive into some other businesses and use some of the same strategies that I use when building my lending business.
All right. So you have been very, very busy. Very busy. Okay. And I like that entrepreneur spirit, because at the end of the day, it's all about us being able to bring products and services to help the community. And, I always believe that we're not here for ourselves. We're here to support others. So
Correct.
Thank you for doing what you do. Okay, so you've done a lot of great things. And right now you're into the real estate arena. That's the full-time thing that you do now?
Yeah, so my specialty is mortgage lending, right? So I've grown a business and partnered with real estate agents across different states to continue to help families buy homes, and the majority of the people I help, Ida, are first-time home buyers, and we really believe that one of the reasons why we've grown at a fast pace is because we focus on education first, we really went to educate the Hispanic community, for example, in their language, and we're on Spanish channel television every Sunday morning, and we have a segment in a show in Telemundo. And our job is just to educate people, right? And I think that that is the main business that I'm in. But the good thing is that using my 14 years of leadership experience, where I've led up to 500 people at a time, I've been able to build a great system and great team. So, we can continue to scale without my having to spend all my time in it, which now allows me to continue to go out and build other businesses, right? And I've done that, in the last year or so. One of them being a virtual assistant company where you can leverage, you can outsource work outside of the U.S. for relatively low cost, which is what corporations have been doing for generations, right?
Yeah.
And really be able to leverage that to have a deeper reach much faster, because we're our own entity, right? We're our own entrepreneur or solopreneur, so you will. And then most recently, one of the things that has really got me excited, Ida, is my daughter. I have a 19-year-old daughter, and she's an up-and-coming music recording artist, and I'm her
Wow.
manager. So I'm learning about the music business, and having meetings, and yesterday we were at a photo shoot. We're going to be shooting a video for one of her singles in the next few weeks. So I've been able to continue to build other businesses using some of the same strategies that I've learned in my past experiences.
Yes. And talking about strategies, you know, being able to transfer strategies that you've learned in other industries, how important is that?
I,
It,
th- I think that's paramount, right? What we're worth our experience, right? I think how we get paid is based on the value that we put out in the marketplace, right? Which was famously put out there by Jim Rohn. And I think with the experiences that we've had, right, 10, 15, 20 years of working with people, of problem solving, that's transferable in any industry that you're working in, right? There might be some specificity in distinct industries, but if you know how to deal with people, right, if you know how to hire people, you know how to develop people, right, that's something that's going to go along in any kind of business that you're developing, right? So it's so important that now after 15, 20 years of working, that you can say, you know what, I have the foundation for me to go out and be successful in whatever I do.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. So now you're in the virtual world of business as well. So how do you leverage modern technology to scale your business?
That's an amazing question, right? I think, as a solopreneur, as an entrepreneur, right, you have to understand that you have certain strengths, but you also have to be accountable for your weaknesses, right? And the best way to really scale is to hire people, right, to be able to take on the things that you're not the best at, right? You have to surround yourself with great people, and when you're initially starting a business, and the capital quite isn't there, it takes a couple years, right, to start really generating some good profit, right?
Mhm.
You really want to go and say, okay, well, how can I leverage my strengths and my weaknesses by outsourcing? So that's what essentially I've done. So, I've always been a big picture kind of guy. I've been a developer, a team leader. When we're talking about the details that it takes to write a loan, or to do the follow up and do these cold calls, right? I'm not good at it. I don't like it, right? So my first virtual assistant that I hired about 3.5 years ago, she makes a lot of calls for me, and her job was just to make calls, put them on my calendar, and then when I could be moving around and connecting with people, and instead of me making calls, I'm just connecting right to people, right? I have an assistant that helps me fill my calendar up, and a successful day to me is just to connect with as many people as possible, to influence as many people as possible, to help as many people as possible. So when you take away those tasks that you can outsource for, here it would be $15 an hour minimum wage, more or less, right? But now you can go ahead and do that outside of the country, for a fraction of the cost. And as we grow, we can either hire more, right? Or we can start hiring people, that are in an office, that you want to make sure that is there with you. So you have to just make sure where your business is at and what you can afford.
Yes, absolutely. Now, how do you choose the right person? And I think it says the right partners in crime.
Man, that's the $1 million question, right?
Yes.
I think that's one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah.
I think we as people, we're always developing, we're always changing. I think it takes a great leader to be able to quickly assess someone's strengths and someone's weaknesses, and been able to put them in the right position to really accentuate those strengths, right?
Mhm.
And also be able to have an open line of communication to be able to change and pivot right along with what the person wants or needs, right? A person, that starts right out of college is different than a person that has, a family to feed, right? What are their motivations? And I think that if you understand that, I think, and you always have an open line of communication with your team, you're always going to evolve with them. I think, going back to choosing the right person, I never choose. When I hire people from scratch, and I typically don't care about some of the skills that they have, right? What I care about is, when I'm meeting with them and I'm interviewing them, do I think that they have integrity? Do I think that they have a passion to move upward? Are they going to have a good work ethic? Because if you can't really teach work ethic, right? You can
Right.
teach those skills that are going to make them successful in a specific job. But if somebody comes to you hungry with integrity, going to do the right thing, I think you should be. They're gonna grow and outpace people that come in and maybe have skill sets for a few years, but they don't have that hunger. They don't have that want to continue to do more. So I think that hiring for that is key. And then, when we teach and we train, right, and then we promote from within, right, I think that you create a great foundation of that culture that, hey, if I stick with Eric and his leadership, right, I'm going to get the most. I'm going to give him the most that I can. He's going to get the most out of me and develop me. And quite honestly, Ida, the most fulfillment is when you develop people and you
Yes.
impact their lives. I think that that's more fulfilling than dollars, right?
Yes, I have to agree with you, because you want to definitely look at the person's drive,
Yeah,
and integrity is number one. What are you going to do when I'm not looking?
correct.
That is very, very important. Like you said, teaching word or showing somebody how you want your Excel spreadsheet done, that's just skills, that you can teach. But like you said, you can't teach people how to have integrity. These are in things. These are things within the individual. So I definitely agree with you on that. And when you are building your empire, how do you how do you plan for certain successes? How do you put those pieces in place and execute upon them?
Another great question. I think when you're starting any business, right, or even if you've been in business for a while and you said, you know what, this is my goal. We're at the start of 2023. What a great time to reset, right? Have clearly defined goals, which I think is one of the first steps. Is what do you want to accomplish this year, right? And then you start to reverse engineer, right? And you can do this for any industry, because if you're in sales and you want to hit a certain volume amount, you're going to say, okay, well, right, what does that consist of on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, on a daily basis? So if you reverse engineer and now you pick the activities that's going to help you get there, and you know what you have to do on a daily basis, and you hold yourself accountable to that, and you pivot when you don't reach that goal on day one or day two, those are the people that are going to reach those goals, right? There's a lot of people that will put something on their vision board or write something down, yet on a daily basis, they're not moving towards that goal. And then come halfway through the year, they're nowhere near their goal and they get discouraged, right?
Yes.
So I think the first step is, whatever business you're in, what's my goal? What does that look like, right? Even if it's health, right? What's my goal? And do I want to get fit? Do I want to lose weight? Do I want to run a marathon? And now you reverse engineer and talk about how you're going to get there. How are you going to change your diet? How are you going to change your exercise, right? Are you going to be training for the marathon? How often? So I think when you do that, right, you kind of break it down and compartmentalize, right, what you're trying to do for the year. And if you hold yourself accountable, it's mathematics, you'll be able to achieve those goals.
Yes, absolutely. Now, the one thing you said is holding yourself accountable. Okay. That's a pretty big one for a lot of people, because accountability is if nobody else knows, we can either go one way or the other way. So
Yes.
how do you hold yourself accountable for what you say you want to do?
Another great question. I think first of all, you have to, if you don't plan and if you don't know what you're supposed to do on a daily basis, it's tough to hold yourself accountable to those activities. So if you don't take the time do that, right, what am I supposed to be doing today, right? It's going to be difficult to that. So if you know what you're supposed to do, right? And you wake up every morning and you have a great routine and you're writing things down, right? And you have a plan in your head, right? It's easy to go back and check, right, the progress from a day-to-day basis. And I agree with you. I think that's one of the most difficult things for people to do. And I think that really is what separates, right, the top 1% in any industry is the accountability, because they will hold themselves accountable. When you look at the great athletes, the Kobe Bryants, the Michael Jordans, right? Nobody had to hold them accountable because they held themselves accountable to a higher standard. They were practicing more than anybody else, right? So in the end, when you look at the greats, it was accountability that really set those people apart. And I think it's the same in business. I will suggest get an accountability part of getting a coach, right? Going back to those same greats that we just talked about, right? They were coached by the same individual, right? So the fact of the matter is, but not the same basketball coach, but the same life coach, right? So the fact of the matter is get yourself a coach, get yourself someone that you admire, and obviously there's a lot of great professionals, great coaches that you pay for the coaches, but you know what? It's worth it because they have a resume and they're going to be able to help you get to your point much quicker because they've already done it and they've helped other people do it. So when I first joined the industry, I didn't make $1, but I understood the power of mentorship and the power of coaching. I signed up for a coaching program day one. And I did not want to reinvent the wheel. I did exactly what they told me to do, right? And I was consistent with it. I held myself accountable. And I met with my coach once a month. And sometimes I failed, and they kicked me in the butt when I failed, right? But that's what progress is, right? That's what we do as parents, right? We have to hold our kids accountable, and we have to give them tough love sometimes, and we have to recognize them when they do well. So the fact of the matter is make sure that you have a clearly defined mentor and or coach that's gonna hold you accountable as you progress. Because if you do this on your own, you may get there, but it's gonna take you a lot longer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then it also helps you to build up your confidence muscle, because sometimes in new businesses, you know how it is, you doing all this upfront work, you ain't making no money, and you start to question, is this gonna work? Am I doing enough? You might have a plan, everything all outlaid, and all the things that you talked about, but at the end of the day, are you looking at what you see in that moment? And sometimes it can be tough. It can be really, really tough. And I like that you talked about having that accountability partner, because you need that. Running a business ain't like working for somebody. You ain't gonna get paid every 2 weeks or every week or however, it's a lot of upfront work with no money.
Correct. I did a training the other day for my organization. We're a national bank, and we had several hundred loan originators there, and I was fortunate to be asked to do a live session, and we talked about that mindset, right? And even now in the mortgage industry, right, it's a huge reduction over last year, right? And a lot of people are worried, a lot of people are nervous, and my message was, we have to measure our success, maybe not on dollar signs right now, right? Maybe not on the amount of families we help right now, is on the activities that we're doing. Are we being consistent with those activities? And I am just like anyone else, and any leader is like anyone else, where they wake up sometimes and it's tough, and there's anxiety and there's some nervous energy. But I think the difference is, right, that the winners put one foot in front of the other and just move and just go and have to believe in the process. And that was my message. You have to believe in your process, because if you are the one that is doing these activities on a daily basis, even though the dollars aren't there, right? But that you're making progress and you're learning and you're looking deep in yourself, holding yourself accountable, and you're experiencing growth, right? The dollars will follow, right? And I think that it's a tough thing to swallow when you have bills to pay, but I think you also have to say, you know what? I made progress today. I made progress this week and this month. And I think that that's what eventually leads to success.
Yes, exactly. I have to agree, because, I remember starting this business. And I mean, when I first started, I was looking for people to interview. I was like putting my girlfriends or
Yeah.
anybody that, that I could find. But what I quickly, as I continued to do it, and people knew that I was gonna be there, then they started coming to me. So that
And that's because they know that you add value. Like, people start things and give things up, but when you're consistent and you're doing this, and they say, "Wow, that's pretty good. Wow, like that helped me today, or that helped somebody else," and now they want to be part of the movement that you have created.
yes, absolutely. And the guests that we have all bring value. All bring value. I mean, there's not an interview that I do that I don't take away something to support me, or even just confirmation that, I'm doing these steps, I'm doing just like we're talking right now, and I'm listening to all the ingredients that's needed to be successful. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm doing that, I'm doing that, so it's like a confirmation as well. Wow.
Yeah,
So
positive reinforcement. Absolutely.
absolutely. So with your mortgage company, let's talk about how you help families to be able to get that first house. Because I mean, I remember getting my first house, and I'm telling you, it was nerve-wracking. It was nerve, and having somebody that educates you, that's key.
I agree. I think education is key, and listen, owning real estate and owning your house, this is not a get rich quick scheme, but it's a get rich quick for sure, right? Real estate is a number one investment that people look towards, but it's a long-term game, but houses always appreciate in value. And I teach the fact that, owning a home is right the path to generational wealth. And I help the minority community, that's 80% of my clientele, because I think that, the education, hasn't been there, right? My father was a first homeowner, right? And there's people that, generations and generations of home ownership, and they understood the process to teach them. Sometimes if we have, even, immigrant families coming into the yes, they do not know what the process is. They don't know that this is actually something that's attainable. So we've prided ourselves in the fact that we really truly educate the community, not only when people are just thinking about buying a house, but even throughout the process. It's important to know, right, what that looks like, because buying a house can be very exciting, but it could also be very scary, and if you're working with the right people, right, that's going to hold your hand and walk you through the process, you're going to feel much more comfortable. And to us, that's paramount, because, we're trying to be these advisors to these individuals for the rest of their lives, right? It's not a transactional thing. We want to make sure that, people call me for non-mortgage related things, and I love it because I'm top of mind to my past clients, and I can refer them to different people that's going to help them, right? Whether it's financial planning, whether it's in accounting, right? Whether it's somebody that wants to start to invest, into real estate. I want to be a touch point for people to try to help them find a solution through financing or whatever it is. So, I think education is key. I do at the beginning of the year, I do a lot of first-time home buying webinars and seminars, because I just feel like it's so important, especially at the beginning of the year, right? Everybody, right, has their vision board, and everybody says, I want to be a homeowner in 2023, right? So I think it's great to really kind of kick off the year with education, and we do it every single year. And we have 5 or 6 first-time home buyer seminars already booked, right, already scheduled, so we can start helping the community out, right? And I had a Facebook Live earlier today with a realtor where I meet with them every Friday for 15 minutes and just go live and just ask questions, answer questions, and just talk about, the current state of the industry. And we just want to be known as that source where people feel comfortable. And I do use social media a lot. I do leverage it a lot. And a lot of people reach out to me through social media because they see that I'm educating people, and I'm a goofball too on social media, right? I show myself, I show who I am, but in the end, I try to add value.
Yes, yes, and that's important. That's important, because I can clearly remember my first house. I have a notebook that was like, let me see, I've been here almost 20 years. That was 20 years ago. The other day I was going through my papers and I found a little notebook where I was taking notes on different things 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
20 years ago. So it is definitely important to, educate and look back on things. Just look back, because there's somebody else out there that's going to go through the same thing you went through.
Exactly. And you know what? And now, with the knowledge that I have, I want to make sure that I teach my kids, and I want them to purchase a house as soon as they can, right? And start learning about the process. And that's one of our goals, right? We've built credit for both of our kids, right? I have 2 teenagers, right? And we start that process because, again, I'm learning this, and as a father that I'm trying to lead them in the right way, I want to make sure that I'm teaching them, right, how to be financially stable at a much younger age than I was, right? So yes. I think we're supposed to do that.
Absolutely. So if people want to connect with you, how do they do so?
Instagram is the fastest way. I'm the Eric Estevez. You can always reach out to me there. I'm also on TikTok, right? Eric the Lender. So I try to be funny on there as well as informative. Or you can also go to a webpage, hustlesmartandhard.com, where I have, just a free template of 10 business building tips, and some of which we talked about today.
Okay. And I like what you talked about with kids, teaching your children. My son was, I think when he turned 6, I opened up a little account for him. Of course, he ain't know nothing about that. But when he turned 8 is when I actually had him fill out his deposit slip and, show him how to look at your account, look at things, how they're growing. And today he is 26 years old and he is very frugal with his money. We talked about commercials when he was young, because you know how they see stuff on TV and it's like, I want that. You know what I'm saying? So I taught him about, all of these different things so that he would understand that a commercial is trying to get you to buy something. What you have to ask yourself is, do you need it? What value is it going to bring to you? We also went over name brands, that kind of thing. You have a name.
Yeah.
You don't need $100 pair of tennis shoes, for real.
Absolutely. And there's not much difference between a $20 shirt and a $300 shirt, but a brand that has been marketed and has been brainwashed for us that it's cool to wear, right? So you're absolutely right, and I think that that's so important. And those are the things that they don't teach in school. So it's our job, parents, to come in and step in and teach that to our children.
Yes. You want to definitely have discernment, and I mean, and research. I teach them about researching. People could tell you everything, anything and everything, but make sure that you understand what they're telling you. Make sure it's valid, that kind of thing. So it's so much when you have children, you've got so many different things that you need to teach them. And me coming up, I didn't have all that.
Yeah.
I didn't have all that.
It's important, right? And I do feel that that especially the minority community has more access to information now more than ever. I feel that they are becoming more financially savvy. I think there's some progress, but I think it's up to us to continue to add value to get to that, to close that gap much quicker. It's true. My one of the goals that I have for my daughter, and it's a lofty goal, but I want her to sign to $1 million label, right? I'm a manager for her now, right? She's a music artist, and I want to sign her to a label for $1 million. And I'm already telling her, what are you going to do with that $1 million? You're going to reinvest it in your career, but you're going to buy a house. Right? So you're going to buy a house with that, and a multifamily house. And you're going to buy a multifamily, you're going to use an FHA program, you're going to house hack, and all the things that I teach in my seminars that I conduct, right? I want her to do it. She's all for it. She goes, I'm down. And luckily, you know, she's been a stage kid for a while. She's been on TV and commercials and side to talent. So she has earned her own money, but she also knows, right, that, you know, she has to manage it and whatnot. So we've been teaching her that for a while.
Yes, absolutely. So let's talk about your daughter a little bit and her career. And how old is she?
So my daughter's 19. Her stage that her name is Angelise Mariah. You can look her up on Spotify, on iTunes. You know, you can look her up on Instagram as well. Angel YSC Mariah. And yeah, so she's been signed to a talent agency in New York City for the last 10 years, and she's done, you know, TV and commercials and print ad. And she started to sing and compete and, you know, just local talent shows. And when she said, I want to do this, we said, okay, let's go ahead and let's do it. And she started getting vocal coaches. She went to a performing arts high school, one of the best in New Jersey. And during COVID, she actually was picked as an intern as she got a scholarship to go to the Clive Davis Institute of Recorded Music in Brooklyn, and she met a lot of great people, and from those relationships spawned her career. So she was able to write a song with somebody that she met in this program, and they put it out into the world, and she said, oh, I guess I'm a recording artist now. And we said, hey, let's go to the studio and let's write. And she has 5 or 6 singles out right now. And you know, her first performance was in front of 8,000 people. Right. And she you know, she does it all. She sings, dances, and acts. She's a triple threat. So she took it very seriously with her choreography, you know, she's part of a dance team. So it went very well. And I am an unorthodox parent in the fact that, you know, I saw she went ahead and she graduated high school with a year's worth of college credits. So after a year of attending Pace University and living in New York City, and we saw that this can go somewhere, I said, hey, let's take a gap year and let's see what we can do. And she's in the house right now. And instead of me investing in her school, I'm investing in her profession. And she signed a 5-song production deal with an independent label. And we have some unreleased music. And, you know, yesterday we were in Brooklyn shooting all day. And in the next, you know, couple weeks, we should start filming her first music video. So we're excited. So we want to do a few music videos, and the goal is to just go out there and perform and market it and maybe do some radio tours and hopefully get her signed by the end of the year.
Wow. This has been amazing. Just all the different things that you're doing and how you are, you know, creating generational success in your family. Wow. Oh wow, this is just amazing. I'm so glad we met, Eric.
Yeah, I love your energy that you put out, your positivity. Yeah, and maybe you can have Angelise on, you know, hopefully as she continues to grow. And she's been doing some podcasts here and there that she's been invited, and I would love to, you know, share her growth with the world. We just met. We had a call right before this with an A&R of a label, and just kind of getting feedback. And we understand that, you know, things are not going to come quick. She has to grind for it. She has to meet people. She has to work for it, and she has that hunger. And that's why I'm investing in her. And I look forward to just seeing her growth in the industry.
Absolutely. And again, how do people get in touch with you? Because you do a lot of different things, but your wisdom is just over the top. And I know people are going to want to talk to you about, you know, things that they're doing and get support on moving to their next level.
Shoot me an Instagram, my DM, the Eric Estevez, EricEstevez. And, you know, I'll send you, you know, where else you can find me from there. But yeah, that's the easiest way to do it. And I look forward to helping anybody that needs it.
Yes, because I really enjoyed this collaboration with you. And you've done some confirming for me. I mean, it's just been a blast.
Thank you, Anna. It has been a blast.
And I'm looking forward to having you back and definitely having your daughter. Maybe she can perform for us. I mean, we also have a TV channel as well. So we would definitely love to talk to you more about having her there. Wow. You just
Yeah,
never know.
yeah, we would love it. We would love it. And we are I want to connect with as many people as possible now, because I would love to, for you, Ida, in 10 years from now, I said, hey, I was able to interview Angelise Mariah, right? And that's the goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you so much, Eric, for your time and your wisdom. And I know our audience is over the top listening to you. And ladies and gentlemen, reach out, keep this conversation going. Just because it's a podcast or whatever, let's keep this energy going, because at the end of the day, we learn from each other. And, information is to be passed on to somebody else. So thank you. And we are looking forward to more.
Thank you, Ida. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay. Wow. This was great. So this will go on our podcast probably in 2 weeks. And I will create the marketing for you and send it over. And like I was saying, we have television. So it's like we are on Roku, we're on Fire TV, and we're on Apple. Our show is called Mindset Movers TV. And we do series. We also have where you can be a permanent show producer, or you can do a series. We also have a magazine. So we are
on all media forms. You guys are everywhere.
We have all media forms, because we want you to reach audiences that you may not necessarily touch, and all of these platforms, we're talking millions of subscribers that you can tap into. We don't have them all, but as we continue to bring people like yourself into the mix, then that just, people want to know more. They want to know more, and they say, well, gosh, she has some great people on her platforms, and then they tell somebody, how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I look forward to seeing your growth, and anything I can do to be a part of it. I'm humbled to be part of it.
Absolutely. We would love to have you. I'm just excited. You just excited me. It's just wonderful thing. So we will definitely be in touch, and we will definitely have you back.
All right. Awesome, Ida. It's a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too. Take care.
Good night.